All right. Well, there is no opening today. So the downside of working on a Mac is it likes to archive things to save space on the hard drive. Every once in a while, it archives my opening, my really nice opening that I made, and then it pops up and says, "Oh, I can't find the file. The file's right there. It's just archived." So here
I
we are.
have that problem on my iPhone.
Yeah, the yeah that's Apple is too smart for its own good. It's the entire problem.
Yes.
So this afternoon, I'm joined by Erica, who I think is actually the first one to drink whiskey with me, specifically, on the show. And she is not even on the East Coast, and so for her, it's very midday, and she has to go back to work when we're done.
Eh,
So,
just a little bit.
so why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Where you're at, what you do, how you got into this, that kind of stuff.
Okay, I am in Kyle, Texas right now, Central Texas. I was born and raised in New Braunfels, so I focus a lot of my business, between San Antonio and Austin, because I'm right here in between San Antonio and Austin. But I can do loans anywhere in the state of Texas. In my past life, I was a teacher. I was a high school math teacher for 15 years, and a campus instructional coach, and thought I was going to go be a school principal, and then realized, yeah, I don't want to be a school principal. So I've done some real estate investing, and thought, you know what, I'm going to get in the mortgage business. So I've been thinking about getting in the mortgage business for a long time. So here I am in the mortgage business. I'm married. I got two kids, two stepkids, so four total, and just living the dream here in my she shed. So
Yes, and we are going to talk about that she shed because that is the coolest thing in the world. I say everybody who hangs around you on a regular basis is jealous that not only do you have an office, because I have an office, but you have a building that's entirely yours.
yes, yes, yeah, in my backyard. So with my two kids and my stepkids, we were a little busting at the seams, in my house. And as much as I'd like to buy a new home, when you're commission only and haven't been in the business for very long, you don't qualify for a loan, even though I'm a loan officer. So it'll be a little while before my husband and I buy the bigger house that we would really like. So I was like, I can't work at the table with all the toys. I'd be distracted by all the toys. So we were like, let's build a she shed.
There you go.
So built a she shed in my backyard, and it's my little getaway that keeps me from doing housework instead of or watching TV instead of working. So
So what I think I want is I want one like yours, except I want it next to the pool out back, and I want the glass sliders on the side of it so I can see the pool. And then in the winter time in Florida, I can open the sliders and have the nice open air effect while I'm working.
yeah, I saw all kinds. I ended up just buying a tough shed. Prefab tough shed comes and puts it in, and then my cousin's a contractor, so he came and finished it out for me. But when I first was shopping, I was looking at all the really cool ones, and then I was like, okay, no, I don't need to spend that much on the she shed. But I love it. And then I didn't really. It's 120 square feet, and so when I was picturing it, I also pictured having a little poker table, so I'd have the girls over at night, and we'd play
There you go.
cards and dominoes. But then once I actually got in here, I'm like, okay, my desk doesn't doesn't really have room for the. I was like, a little couch, a little poker table. No, 120 square feet is not quite big enough for that. I guess I could move my desk over and then move that in at the night in the evenings, but we haven't gotten there yet. So
So with the because you put insulation in it and you've got it has its own air conditioner and all that stuff, and so does it? I mean, does it keep warm or I'm sorry, really cold? Does it keep cold like you need it to?
yeah, we got a mini split, and actually the mini split is way bigger than what we needed for this space. So I can't ever actually find the right setting where I'm like, I'm freezing, and then I turn it off, and then I'm like, oh my God, I'm hot. Um, so that I haven't actually figured out yet. But no, I mean, I have no problem staying warm or cold. It just gets too hot or too cold. So,
Ah,
but it's nice. It's nice. I thought about doing the window unit, and then I thought, oh, that might be too loud. So the mini split, so I just mount it on my wall over here, and it didn't. I think it's made for a lot bigger square footage than than what my she shed needs. So
Probably, but I mean, but you do have one of the few legitimate she sheds out there in the world.
yes, yes. It's so funny too. I have all these like nice drawers for storage. They're all empty.
But it looks
So,
great. Actually, here,
but it looks cool.
'cause if I take myself
We
out, you can
actually,
actually see the wide angle of that whole nice
yeah,
back wall there.
yeah. Don't look too close because we ran out of paint when I was painting. So like, and then I never went. There was of course supply chain shortage. I couldn't get the paint that I needed to finish the paint job. So I was like, oh, I'll do it later. And of course, haven't gotten around to finishing the paint job. But
It's all
and then
right.
my kids have come in here and already drawn all over the drawers, and so. But I tell my husband when I wasn't here, I'm like, you let the kids play in my she shed. So
So how long were you a teacher?
17 years, well, 15 years in the classroom, and then 2 years I was an instructional coach, which basically I, help support teachers. It's kind of a middleman job between teaching and administration. And that's when I realized, yeah, I went back and got my master's to do school administration, but seeing the school system from the middleman job, it's like, yeah, no, I don't want to be a school administrator. But high school math, I was a head volleyball coach for a lot of
Okay.
years. Um, so yeah, that it was good. It was good until it wasn't. I definitely think I just hit a burnout and was ready for a change. And I've had a passion. I've been real estate investing um, since I think 2012 is when I started real estate investing. And
Okay.
so I guess really, really active in 2014 was invested in my first multifamily apartment complex. And so ever since then, I've just loved everything real estate. And so I've done three, four, I don't even remember now, cash out refinances on my primary residence
Hmm.
just to free up more money to buy more investment properties, more real estate. So I'd learned about loans that way. And then every time I talked to my loan officer going, okay, tell me what it is that you do as a loan officer. And and then I was like, oh, I think I could do that. I think I'd like it. And then COVID made the decision easy,
Oh yeah.
took the plunge, made the career change, and it's been good. So I enjoy it.
So when you bought the first one, how big was it?
Well, I mean, of course, I did all this. I didn't buy any of the apartment complexes by myself. They're all syndications with other investors. But the first one was just like a 48 unit, I think, small kind of boutique, um, a boutique little apartment complex, and everything that you could imagine would go wrong in an investment property like went wrong.
Okay.
Everything that you could think of, and at the end we still made money. Like that's the beauty of real estate investing, right? Like
Hmm.
even when you do it poorly or everything goes wrong, we still made money in the end. Not as much as we were projected to make, but we made money, we sold it, and then I was able to get into some bigger investments.
So
Um,
when you first jumped
so
into it, you jumped in with other people. A lot of people, myself included, wouldn't necessarily know. So how does that work, and how do you find the other people that you're going to invest with in order to move forward with something like that? Because that's a big project.
yeah, so there's a lot. I mean, I've now knowing what I know now, I don't know if I do it any differently. I joined a group called Lifestyles Unlimited. It's
Okay.
just an education and mentor group. There's a cost to join. There's like several different levels of membership. So I joined the lowest level of membership, which at the time I think it was like $500 for 2 years, just to kind of learn just some ins and outs. And then you get to a second level where they teach you how to do single family homes, and they have a mentor, and they hold your hand, walk you through it, teach you how to evaluate a deal, teach you how to kind of do the whole thing, how to rehab a house, how to hire people, the contractors, all that stuff. And then, all the things, use hard money lenders to buy, rehab, and then refi into, your permanent financing, how to screen your tenants. I teach you all that. And then the next level is, they call it, I'm a pig. In the preferred investor group.
Okay.
And that is how you have to kind of join And so it's essentially it's a pretty hefty fee to join, but when I think about what I spent on college,
Right.
and I'm like, if I would have known about this, you
Hmm.
know, in my 20s, if I could do it all over again, and know then what I know now, I think
Oh
I would
yeah.
have, I would have waited tables, lived with roommates, bought one rent house, then bought the next rent house, and I would have just bought rent houses as often, until I could get to where I'm at now. But well, no, not even where I'm at now. Further along than
Oh
where I'm
yeah.
at now. But uh, but yeah, essentially, when you join the preferred investor group, you're essentially kind of you're paying into like a networking group, so it's other
Okay.
people, like-minded people, but you have to go through some training to do syndications.
Uh oh. I don't know where she went. Which is funny because when we started this thing, we were talking about the fact that this occasionally happens that people disappear. There she is.
Sorry.
There we go.
Yeah, sorry, don't know. Anyway, so you have to go through some trainings to be considered a sophisticated investor through like Security and Exchange Commission kind of guidelines, and so that's kind of like Lifestyles Unlimited doesn't. I'm not in the deal with Lifestyles Unlimited. It's just the mentor and education group, but I also have a group of networking friends that we know who's doing deals, and you network and try to see who you can get in with to do the deals with them. And so I'm a passive investor. I just kind of evaluate the deal. I pick the lead syndicator that I want to try to do the deal with, and you find the ones that are successful and try to get into their deals.
Oh,
So
okay.
so I chose to do it that way, and I ended up never buying a rent house yet. I mean, I'll do that now. My plan is to buy rent houses for each of my kids and teach my kids, to how eventually my little ones are
Hmm.
young, let them learn how to budget and take the rent, and you know all the little things that go along, pay the taxes, pay the mortgage, all that stuff. um, so I'm going to use that real estate investing to teach my kids. But anyway,
See, it,
that's
it's
how I do it.
it's funny you say that because in my case, I also have a college degree, and I feel like it was a complete and total waste. Um, you know, I spent 20 years. See, and I spent 21 years. Spent 4 years in the military, and 21 years beyond that in the corporate America to finish out making less money than I made in my first made per year my first 5 years. It's like, well, wait a minute, and
Yeah.
I was in the same industry. I was, experience all the stuff that goes with it, and I never got there, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Whereas if I knew then what I know now about, because I'm dual licensed as a real estate agent and a loan officer, if I knew
Hmm.
then what I know now, say I would already be retired. I'd be on my boat in the south of
Yep.
Spain somewhere.
Exactly. And that honestly, it was one of the biggest driving factors to me leaving education. Hold on, my dog is scratching to get out the door.
You're
So
good.
that was one of my biggest driving factors too, is that my plan is to invest in 30, 40, however many multifamily apartment, investments that I can, to where, as a passive investor, I don't do any of it. I just write the check to get in the deal. And I have some voting rights. Are we gonna sell? Are we gonna do a cash out refinance? And so I have some voting rights, but otherwise I'm not dealing with the day-to-day screening the tenants, and making sure tenants are paying rent and all of that stuff. There's an apartment manager that does all that. So yeah, and as a teacher, I was like, I don't have time to manage rent houses. I don't want to be the landlord. I want to
Right.
just, you know. And so now, and as a teacher, of course, I was working long hours, and the harder I worked, what was my reward? Test scores,
Right.
Yay! And it's like I wasn't making money fast enough to get into my next real estate deal. So I was like,
Hmm.
what can I do that ties into real estate, gets me like in the game all the time, and also allows me to, potentially make some more money so that I can invest in more real estate deals. So ultimately, I'm retired sooner. So
See, and I've always been afraid to do single family rentals because it's always felt to me like if all it takes is one bad tenant to trash the house, and then you lose everything you made for the last 5 years, and that's always been my fear of doing individual rentals.
yes, but what does fear stand for?
Face everything and rise.
There is that one, but yeah, actually, in Lifestyles Unlimited, they teach us like it's false. Well, and you've heard it before. False evidence appearing real. Like you
Yep.
hear all the horror stories, and yeah, there are horror stories. But even then, like even if you had one tenant that trashed the place, if they were paying their rent, they're paying down the equity on the house. So yeah, you spend a little bit of money to fix it up, you get another tenant in the end you're still probably going to come out on top, and so
Probably.
you might have a bad taste. But the other side of that too is the most of the time when you have problems with that, your people are not screening their tenants.
Right.
You can set your rental criteria to whatever you want it to be, as long as you're not discriminating, of course. But like you can say a minimum of 700 credit score if that's what you want. I mean, most wouldn't say a minimum of 700 credit score, but
Right.
you can do criminal background checks. A lot of people don't do criminal background checks before they let their tenants move in. So I mean, you screen your tenants properly. Or are you gonna like 100% be guaranteed not to have any of that kind of stuff? No, but you know, at the end of the day, it's still
Yeah.
going to probably be lucrative. You make money 5 ways. You make money 5 ways in real estate, right? So,
Hmm.
like you get the equity capture, you get the cash flow from rent, you get tax benefits, you're staying ahead of inflation, you get the appreciation over time. Like it's just such a beautiful vehicle to invest your money, to the point that I took all of my money out of anything else I was invested in. I had like Roth IRAs, which teachers don't have 401ks, but Roth
Right.
IRAs, anything. Like I had some life insurance, like whole life insurance policies, like I cashed them all in just to buy more real estate. So that's my retirement plan is
I mean, and it's a smart
real
one
estate
because
investment.
if you look at any of the, with the exception of a few, and it's very few, with the exception of a very few, most of your really, really financially well off people did it through real estate in one way or another.
Mhm.
And we've
Mhm.
talked about it. I like the idea of, and I hadn't thought about it, but buying a rental house for Reagan, our 14-year-old, when she's of that age, because then we still, she's not watching. Yes, okay, good. We still have control. Um, but we can teach her all the things, and if at any point in time she stumbles to us instead of out to the real world. And I guess that
Mhm.
from that standpoint, that makes a lot of sense. And then she could ultimately just buy the house somewhere down the road when she's ready.
Mhm. Mhm.
But
Refinance it into her name, add her to the title, and let her manage it. And yeah, there was one of the stories in Lifestyles Unlimited, I think, was a family who was they were members and doing well, and they told their son when he graduated from high school, like you can either go to college, or we'll buy an apartment complex for you and you learn how to manage it. And he took the apartment complex
I hope
thing, and he
so.
became the lead thing. And he I think he was like a multimillionaire by the time he was 24. So
Hmm.
um,
So
again, if I'd known then, but I know now.
So I have a buddy of mine, Terry, in Ohio, who owns TSL Properties, and most people, I guess I'm gonna give away a secret here, although there shouldn't be many people from Ohio that see it. TSL Properties, the best part about it is, so he was buying low-end apartment complexes, and then he was rehabbing them and making them nicer. And I helped him several times install cameras and do things that were necessary to make them. And they're around Dayton. Well, the best part is people just assume that the TSL is his initials. It's not. It's Terry the Slumlord.
Yeah, yeah. but it's not, because he's fixing them up and making
Yes.
them nicer places to live.
And
So
that's the best part about the whole
ironic.
thing. Yes,
Yeah,
is Terry
yeah,
is a
yeah.
really good guy, and if I ever had to have a landlord again, I would want Terry to be my landlord. But yes, we laughed and laughed and laughed about that.
Yeah, yeah. That's good. So yeah, we call the my mentors in Lifestyles Unlimited call those like crazy tenants that you were talking about the purple Martians. And then, of course, like being the apartment manager is like adult daycare, and there's
Okay.
like definitely that. And I'm like, yeah, I don't want to do that part. I just be passive. I just want to be a passive, and that might change. But right now, I just want to be a passive investor, not doing what your friend's doing. I just want to write the check and then wait for the mailbox money. So
Well, and that's the best part. If you can get away with doing that, I mean, you may not make as much, but if you can do that enough
you don't,
times,
yeah,
then what difference does it make? It's
yeah,
because I mean that's the thing is with our generation in particular, we do not have like Keisha's parents, my dad and my stepmom for that matter, my stepfather. They all have these annuities continuing on from their jobs that just pay out forever. Whether it's one of them's GM, two of them are government, another one another one work for the city, and so they're continuing to draw a paycheck. We have nothing. Stuff doesn't exist anymore, and so if you don't
yeah,
figure out something like you're talking about, then you better have
yeah.
a lot of money saved.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what the 401k is. It's like it's great unless the market crashes, and then you have to hope that you die before you run out of money.
Right.
Or you're going back to work at 80 because you ran out of money, and you and your 401k ran out, and I'm still alive, so now what am I going to do to live?
Right.
With this, yeah. And I mean, I have teacher retirement, which of course I was supposed to stay in for 11 more years in order to actually draw my teacher retirement. I mean,
Hmm.
I'll still be able to get it, but to get as much as I originally thought I would. But it's nice because it's a true pension. But I'll probably cash that in and buy another.
There's the
I'll
word I
probably buy
was.
another property.
There's the word I couldn't think of. Pension. You know.
Pension, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Keisha's a hairdresser, so we're headed towards we either, as you said, have enough money. We're racing the money towards death here, and the problem is we like cars, and expensive motorcycles, and expensive whiskey, and so we've got to figure something else out. Otherwise, we're in trouble.
Well, you're in the right business. You just got to start investing. And we've got all these great investor products. That was the other thing. When you're commission only, you've got to average your 2 years of commission. Well, I've only been in the mortgage business now for coming on, well, not even quite a year, but
Hmm.
I won't qualify for a conventional loan for a little while on my commission only job. But we've got this debt service coverage loan. So as long as you got the down payment and the rent covers it, you can,
Right.
rent covers the mortgage, you can buy an investment property. So it's pretty cool.
We
A lot
actually
of
just
things I didn't know about.
We actually just figured out that the bank will not look at being a real estate agent and a loan officer, despite the fact that they're the same industry, as one. And so, because I've had my real estate license almost 2 years, but because I've only had my loan license for 6 months, and so they went absolutely not. As far as the bank was concerned, I stopped one and started the other, and they won't look at them both. So now I restarted the 2 year clock over again.
Yeah, I think you might be able to find a loophole to that now that you can write your own loans or something. So
True,
I don't know. Maybe.
if I wanted to refinance at 6% or something, but I don't.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind
That's true.
of I was kind of hoping for the 4% HELOC myself.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. I had a HELOC. I did a HELOC once to buy real estate as well. So, but, mm, you know.
So,
Anyway,
did you ever do a bad deal?
like as an investor,
Yeah.
like, yeah. I mean, well, that first one, like I said, that first one. So just like the first deal I was in, that it turned out that the apartment, there was like a maintenance apartment he was kind of part maintenance, part apartment manager. He was doing some things that were shady. We didn't find out till later. The pool, the way the place was built, the pool was in the middle, and it had this terrible leak that, but because of the design, you couldn't get any equipment in there
Okay.
to fix the pool. So the pool was just like this money suck. Something happened, and some gas lines were leaking, and they like had to. I mean, everything, like boilers went out, all this stuff. So, like I said, it was actually just, it was terrible. Everything that went wrong could go wrong, and we still made 14% return on that deal. So
There you go.
And then, you know, I'm in a couple deals. The second deal I got in was it was a big rehab deal. So we bought, I think it's about 400 units in Houston, and you know, we bought it, and after a year, I think it was a year, maybe a year and a half, I can't really remember now, it's been a while, we did cash out refi, got 50% of our initial investment back already.
Wow.
And we're looking to do another cash out refi. I think next year. We're in an interest only loan right now that has a prepayment penalty. So as soon as that prepayment penalty window is done, we'll do another cash out refi. We'll get our entire initial investment back, and
Wow.
still be receiving quarterly dividends. So that's just, you know, and then I'll take that and I'll put it in another deal. And then and then other deals, you know, we do the 1031 exchange. So we're getting basically, I think 102 or 104% return on our investment after 1 year.
Okay.
And we're selling it, and then we're 1031 exchanging it into another deal, so we don't have to pay capital gains taxes. So it's I did sell a deal this past year that I will have to pay a little bit of capital gains taxes on, but I think I had so much deferred, like, write-offs, it shouldn't be.
Okay.
I don't know. I let my accountant deal with all of that. but that's the thing, is you can do it almost tax-free. And, you know, and then if you're like, when you have to pay taxes, it's because you're making so much money that you're like, oh, all right, whatever. Like, I'll pay a little taxes because making so much money on it. So I'm not making enough in my real estate investing to retire yet. So I'll say that. But it's a beautiful, beautiful vehicle.
So I have an investor friend of mine, Bree, who's going to watch this later. She was on actually a couple of months ago, and she told a horror story about a house that I actually helped her purchase, where it was off its foundation, and it was horrendous. But she's going to want this and want to talk to you further. So people want to talk to you further. I assume you are open to talk about this.
Yeah, I love talking real estate. And you know, people ask me, I start talking about Lifestyles Unlimited, and then people think that it's like a pyramid scheme or something that I'm trying to get people to join. And I'm like, no, it's not a pyramid scheme. Like, I don't get anything if you join. I don't join. There's probably other investment groups out there that do something similar. It was expensive, but for me, it was worth it because, yeah, you can Google anything, right? You can go do the research on your own. You know, Dom, our other friend Dom, has his new real estate investing group on Facebook that I've joined. And yeah, there's a lot of information out there. But for me, it was like, okay, with Lifestyles Unlimited, I'm getting good, factual, true information. I'm not sifting through all the BS by like Googling and trying to learn it on my own.
Right.
I mean, it's basically, you know, learning everything from people who've experienced it. You know, they give you a map of like exactly how to do it. They say that you can retire in 5 years or less. I have not done that yet. Maybe I haven't been quite as aggressive. Maybe it's because I was starting out on teacher income, and some of the people that start out, I don't know. I possibly could have done it a little bit more aggressively, but I also think that fear comes in, the false evidence that appears real. But also too, somewhere along the way, I also got married and decided to have kids, and you know, we got daycare and all those things. So less goes to the real estate investing funds, but there are a lot of people in my group that have retired in 2 years, in 5 years, just from corporate America, from day job, and are just doing real estate full time. So,
and what they didn't tell you is that they had $5 million in the bank when they started.
That's the thing. A lot of people cashed in their 401ks that had 500, 600, $1 million. And, I'm like, I'm going to cash in my 30,000 life insurance policy and do a cash out refi on my house. And okay, I can get into this deal. So, um,
So
so,
have you ever been to Vegas?
oh yeah.
Oh
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
So
I used to go regularly, not anymore though.
I love to play cards, and I always feel that way when I sit down at the table, and I sit down and I like to play Hold'em. I've been playing Hold'em for a long time. The last cruise we were on, I actually won the poker tournament on the cruise, but I always feel that way when I sit down because I put my little $500 on the table, and that dude over there's got like 100,000. It's like, yeah.
Yeah. But you won, so.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But as I so the best part is my wife has never seen me lose, and I've explained to her, it's like, okay, it's taken me a long time to get this far. I have lost far more than I've ever won. I'm just at a point now where I know when to get up and walk away. It's not that I don't lose.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I haven't been to Vegas. I think once I started real estate investing, I stopped. I stopped going to Vegas.
Yeah.
Every place. I used to go every year for National Finals Rodeo. It was
Okay.
kind of a thing we did. I liked it. The minimums on. I like to play craps. The
Oh,
minimums
okay.
on the table were the minimums on the table seem a little bit lower when when the cowboy crowd's in for National Finals Rodeo. So.
Well, hopefully we can make the is it November, December, with the loan officer trip work, because that is in
Yeah,
Vegas. So
that would be
hopefully
cool. Yeah.
hopefully we can make that work. But all right, well, appreciate all the information. I'll say if anybody from my side wants to talk to Erica further about real estate investing, she can, as far as loans go, she can do any type of loan out there, with the exception of HELOC is the only one we can't do. But anything else,
Yeah.
and the weirder and more impossible it is, that's the one that she wants.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, no,
Uh-huh.
I do like the creativity behind
Yeah.
some of these crazy situations. I like learning on every file. So
So
yeah, same. So I got anybody coming to Texas, you can contact me. Anybody going to Florida, any of my people that are watching this, you're going to Florida. I actually have some friends in Florida I can refer your way.
cool.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me on. This is
Yeah,
fun.
it's a good time.
I had no idea what direction this was going to go. So
And I don't either. I had no idea we were going to get into real estate investing, and that's part of why I like doing this live, is because I feel like if it wasn't live, I would have an agenda, and if I have an agenda, then we might not have actually gone down this road, and so that's why I try and keep it as open as I can.
well, this was a lot of fun. Thank you so much for having me.
You bet. All right, guys, have a good weekend. Take care.